You gave them every chance to win. If you look at this in slow motion, you can see Caitlin Clark clearly smiling in confusion, smiling in, did that really just happen? Smiling in, you slide W. And she says, she points at the other team, you gave them every chance to win. Oh, goodness gracious. Caitlin Clark, she's chomping at the bits to start talking to these referees during the game.
The WNBA is back in the spotlight, but not for the reasons fans might hope. Star players Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson are raising their voices about a persistent issue. The officiating. They point to inconsistent calls and a sense that the league's priorities are misplaced. Their frustration suggests a feeling that the focus is more on managing the athletes than championing them. Even a recent Indiana Fever victory was overshadowed by these concerns, leaving many to wonder about the consistency and future direction of the league.
This is kind of where everything started at with Sydney Colson. So this is the timeline here. Let me get this pulled up here. This is interesting. I didn't know she said all that today. Okay, this is interesting here. She started off last night by saying at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm going to need for Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as each other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually. And I've considered roping my sister in it to have office purse charged.
That was a heart stopper. The Indiana Fever narrowly defeated the Los Angeles Sparks with a final score of 76-75. While a win that close is usually cause for pure celebration, the post-game conversation has been dominated by something else, the officiating. Many observers felt the referee calls were inconsistent throughout the game, casting a shadow over the Fever's exciting finish. It's left a lot of fans and commentators asking the same question. When will the league take a serious look at making these standards more consistent? What's your perspective? Do you think this will be the moment that prompts real change, or will these concerns continue? We'd love to hear your opinion in the comments.
Who paying you, ref? Who you betting on? And mind you, there was some problems going on with the shot clock throughout the game. But man, there is no way. Right at the end of the game, you should be on top of it. You telling me you're not paying attention to when some hands touch that ball? Come on, man. And then to reward them with the timeout, like, fam, that's crazy work. Look, Caitlin Clark, like, what is going on here? She's like, no. Look, Caitlin ready to run the floor, fam.
Let's go back to the second quarter. Indiana's Kelsey Mitchell drove hard to the basket. She cleanly beat her defender and was in full stride. Then, right in the middle of the court, she was grabbed and pulled. It was a clear foul, obvious too. Everyone watching, everyone waited for the whistle. It never came. The officials let play continue as if nothing happened somehow. Mitchell pushed through and still scored. But the message was sent. The Indiana bench erupted over the missed call.
There's one referee. We definitely have to check for betting slips for this guy right here. I think his name is like Agun Agazi, because it sure seemed like he did not want to let the Fever take away this win, making the last 1.9 seconds last almost 5 minutes. He was just like letting them call a reset timeout, and then he was like, no, it's a foul. But I think the worst part about that 1.9 seconds was when 0.4 seconds was left on the clock, and Kelsey Mitchell was at the free throw line. She was trying to miss on purpose because that takes time off of the clock, because if she would have made it in, they would have been able to inbound and possibly do a tip in. But this guy allowed a reset timeout. When do you allow a reset timeout with point?
From the bench, an injured Caitlin Clark saw the entire play, fully invested in the game. She sprang to her feet, appealing to the officials for a call. Her reaction spoke volumes. Teammate Lexi Hull also rose, visibly upset by the no call. Yet, in a confusing decision, the referees gave her a technical foul. So, to summarize, the fouled player got no call. The player who fouled faced no penalty. But the player who stood up against the mistake was the one punished. It's difficult to watch something like that and not wonder where the league's priorities lie.
That's what everybody saw in that game. Like, it didn't really matter what was going on. We all knew what was happening. We all knew what was happening there. And the game was being given. The game was absolutely being given to the Sparks. They were giving the Sparks every single chance possible to go and win that game. Even though realistically, did they deserve to win that game? Hell no. Hell no. They did not. And I mean that. They did not deserve to win.
Injured veteran Sydney Colson watched from home and had seen enough. She took to social media, where her post quickly gained attention. Her point was straightforward. Kelsey Mitchell deserves the same respectful officiating given to other star players. The level of physical play Mitchell faces each game has become excessive. Colson even joked that it was so extreme, she considered having her lawyer sister look into it. This strong reaction from a respected veteran shows how deep these concerns really go.
Kelsey Mitchell's whistle last night was horrific. And Kelsey drove to the basket a lot. She is the type of person that just like goes through a lot of defenders, and she wasn't getting a call. This really was not her game. She was not hitting it from the three whatsoever, but everyone is entitled to having a bad game here and there. And I think she was kind of due for one because of the tear that she's been on lately. Even Sid Colson took to Twitter to talk about it, saying, at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm gonna need Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually.
Colson was serious. She put into words what every Indiana Fever fan has felt all year. This isn't about one or to bad calls. It's a pattern of allowing too much physical play, then punishing anyone who speaks up. Her post direct and edged with sarcasm struck a chord. It spread fast, with fans everywhere agreeing that she'd said what needed to be said. Caitlin Clark noticed, too. She replied simply, "Careful, you're going to get fined." Those 6 words said a lot. Clark was pointing out the league's habit of finding players who criticize the referees. It seems you can take hard contact during the game without a call, but you can't talk about it afterward without consequences. Her comment wasn't a joke, it was a nod to a frustrating reality.
Careful, you're going to get fined. Then Sydney Colson said, "I can't get no more fine." So Lynn Dunn stated, "Agree, I will help pay the fine." So that's what Lynn Dunn stated yesterday about the fines. And Caitlin Clark said, "Love it. Everyone listen to Lynn." So it's definitely a lot of exchange going back and forth there.
Just consider Sophie Cunningham's situation. Her story shows exactly what happens when a player speaks honestly about the officiating. She's been fined 3 separate times. The first was over a lighthearted TikTok video about the referees, which cost her $500. Later, she talked about inconsistent calls on her own podcast and was fined $1,500. Most recently, she simply pointed out that some players get more foul calls than others. For stating this clear fact, she was punished again. Her experience perfectly illustrates the league's firm policy: criticize the referees and you'll pay for it.
Like, I love Paige to death. Do not get me wrong. I think, like, again, I think she's a hell of a player and, like, would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. Like, you literally couldn't touch her. Couldn't touch her. And that shit is so annoying to me. Like, and if you're going to do that, then give it to our guards. Like, I just hate the inconsistency.
Like, when whistles are player focused, that's like, I mean, I think that's a huge problem. But then again, like, I don't know what sport that doesn't exist. But she's a rookie. She shouldn't get whistles as a rookie.
The message the league is sending is troubling right now. The WNBA seems to value silence more than it values fairness or player safety. The rules appear set up to keep players from speaking out, punishing anyone who asks for consistent officiating. This was summed up perfectly in Sydney Colson's response to Caitlin Clark: "I can't get any finer." It wasn't a throwaway joke. She was saying she's already been punished as much as possible. When players talk about being fined into the ground just for wanting a fair game, it stops being funny and becomes a real issue. This problem is bigger than one game or one call. All season, Indiana Fever players have faced unusually physical play that often goes unpenalized. The pattern is clear. Opponents play rough because they know they can get away with it. The referees often allow it, and when the Fever object, they're the ones who get penalized. Perhaps the most confusing part is that this is happening to the league's most visible players. Caitlin Clark is bringing in record crowds and unprecedented attention, yet she and her teammates aren't receiving the protection star players should expect. It's a confusing approach that hurts the league's integrity and its potential.
more people are talking about the refs than that. More people are talking about Caitlin Clark's reaction than that. And that just sums up how bad the refereeing is that we have seen an unbelievable game. We have seen an unbelievable game. A game where you're like, okay, maybe, just maybe, the Fever not even just maybe, the Fever put themselves in a great position. They put themselves in a great position to succeed. But now you're looking and you're like, what do people remember from this game? Caitlin Clark having to be restrained by...
The real concern here isn't one missed call, it's what the numbers show. The statistics point to a problem the entire league can't ignore. Take this fact. Caitlin Clark, a first-year player, has drawn 17% of all flagrant fouls called in the WNBA this season. Think about that. One rookie has been involved in nearly a fifth of the league's most serious fouls. This isn't just physical play, it looks targeted, and referees haven't done enough to prevent it. And it's not only Clark. Kelsey Mitchell regularly takes more contact than most star players. She attacks the basket over and over, often through obvious pushes and holds, yet in a recent game she only shot to free throws, just 2. Other top players get whistles for far less. This isn't just inconsistency. It's a clear double standard, and that's what truly hurts the league's credibility and the trust of its fans.
Please tell me y'all saw Caitlin Clark, the GOAT. Y'all saw Caitlin Clark crash out on the bald head ref last night. Please tell me y'all saw this. And she had Caitlin Clark spazzed on the referee last night. And I'm not mad about it. I see a lot of the haters talking about, oh, she be doing too much with the man. Mind your business. You are not in a GOAT's place, so stay out of a GOAT's business, okay? It's that simple. The officiating was awful last night. I don't know what was going on in that Los Angeles Sparks Indiana Fever game.
The league's reaction to this situation speaks volumes. Instead of fixing the real problem, inconsistent officiating, the response has been to silence the players who pointed out. The focus seems to be on shielding referees from criticism, rather than shielding players from unsafe and unfair play, as one athlete put it. Asking for consistent calls isn't disrespectful, especially when the missed calls are obvious to everyone watching. It's a reasonable request, but the league treats any remark about officiating as a finable offense. This trend shows it's not just one poorly called game, it's a deeper issue. Many feel the Indiana Fever, and especially players like Clark and Mitchell, are held to a different standard. Their coach has spoken up all season, calling the officiating unfair and asking for equal treatment. What did she get for defending her team? The same as her players, a fine. It appears that in today's WNBA, the real mistake isn't poor refereeing, it's being honest about it.